So as said, the first step that we are going to do is to identify attributes that can be chosen to segment your products. So we're going to discuss in this sheet 5 different ones, and we will elaborate on 2 more specific in the next sheet, and not all of them, but just to give you an idea how that could function. So the first one that we see here, how can you assign attributes to a product, can be based, for instance, on quality. So there is a model that we are going to discuss how we assess the quality of a product. And these attributes can then be used to assign it to different products that you have on your inventory. The next one is one that we see mainly applied within organizations is the profitability of a product. So it's a more let's say easier approach to make a separation between profitability within your products and assign how much they bring in. The other one is based on customer demand and the popularity of the product, so we can make a setup in that one as well, of course. The fourth one that could be applied is the velocity of sales and revenue. So here we are looking more into the fast movers and the slow movers. So it's a separation of your products and services that you are selling in that sense. And the final one that we can do, and that is something that we see more and more, for instance, in commodity markets, is that we are going to assess the competitive intensity. So if you are able to scrape markets and get information out of the World Wide Web in terms of how does my competition look like, and how much competition do I have on different products, and what type of strategy do I want to execute on that level, then of course the intensity of the competitive field can be used as well to assign that to different products in terms of a high density market or maybe a bit lower one. So as said, one of the models that we wanted to discuss is based on the quality. So for instance, in the quality assessment of products, we can make use of a Graven model. Graven model, as shown here, uses 8 different elements that we can assign to a product. Just to elaborate a little bit on it, so what we can do, for instance, we can measure performance of a product, but also reliability, durability, conformance, the features that we have, of course, on a product. The next one is about the visual attractiveness of a product. So how does it look like, and do I really like the product in its appearance? The other one is the serviceability. And the last one is, of course, the perceived quality from the client's perspective towards, or the buyer's perspective towards the product. So what we can do with these types of models, that really can depend per organization, right? So if we want to do a full analysis around the quality of a product and use that as a score to segment our products eventually, it can be that we take into account all these different elements. So we make a scorecard for each product, we fill it in, and we, for instance, use a Likert scale for it or something else. So we just give it a score 1 to 10, and then based on all these different elements, we give them a score. We summarize the score, take an average, and that is the average score that we give to a product that we are selling, so that we then can make groups out of those scores. Can also be the case that you think that a few of these elements are not that applicable. So then I would say pick those that are applicable for your organization or the industry that you are active in. So all the models that are available are, of course, great to use, great examples. There's a lot of documentation about it, how you can apply these models, but always be aware of the domain where you are active in and how valid each point is to be measured, and take that into account what you think that counts best for your organization and, of course, the domain you are active in. The other one is, of course, that we, as said before, is what we see more often is the financial performance measurement of a product in an organization. So the approach is how I would say it's more controllable and maintainable in terms of execution, and doesn't include like 8 different ways of rating a product and then making a scorecard and taking average out of it. The other one, as presented here, is more on the financial performance. So we just make a line, for instance, where we see how much margin contribution a product is making to the organization. And then we make a kind of overview in a chart where we can say, all right, we see that these products bring in this much of revenue, and etc. And then we make a categorization in that one. In this case, we have an analysis, for instance, on 3 different levels. So it can be categorized on a high contribution financially, can be a moderate contribution financially, or a low contribution financially. And then we make like a separation in these groups based on the data, of course, that we extract out of the product data that we can find within your organization.